Must I say more? Hello everybody, welcome to the Captain Bita Show, where I do the very difficult task of telling you whether a movie is worth your time or not, and if it deserves a spot in your movie collection. I'm Ashton Raymer, and I'll be your host. Today we're going to be talking about Godzilla, which is out in theaters everywhere now. Let's begin. So Godzilla is a movie about Godzilla, and he's fighting monsters, and that's honestly all I'm going to give you, because I think that's all you need to go into this movie and enjoy it. I mean, there is a bigger plot at hand, but in the end, is that why you're going? Is that really, are you going to go see Aaron Taylor Johnson be a guy? No, you're going to go see Godzilla fight monsters, kick ass, and yeah, in a nutshell, that's really what you should be going to this movie to see, so that's my synopsis I'm going to give you. And as many of you know, Godzilla was my #1 most anticipated movie of the year, so this thing had a lot of hype to live up to. So the question is, did it? Yeah, it did. It did. Ah! Ow. I mean, while I do have a few gripes within those gripes are kind of big, this is Godzilla done right. This is Godzilla done right by America. Now we can forget 1998 happened and live happily. Because we have this and it's awesome. And a lot of that is thanks to Gareth Edwards, who directed this film, and I'm so glad they got him, because if you haven't seen Monsters, if you're on Amazon Prime, it's on there. Watch Monsters, because that's a monster film that he did with a very low budget. It's an indie monster film. Now he's directing this one with a budget. Yeah, seriously though, with this budget, he blew me away. The way he frames his shots, everything, like the way he just gets all these cameras, it's just, oh, it's so good. I was so happy they got him for this, because he was just, this is a well-directed monster film. It's like Pacific Rim, but it's like it has better story, but it's like it in the way you get a lot of wide shots, and you need those, and you get tons of monster action at the end. I should make that incredibly clear now. You don't see Godzilla for a lot of this movie. The entire movie's really a build-up to the third act, but what I want to let you know, you do get to see him throughout that, because the way I was listening to other people talk about this, they're just like, yeah, he doesn't show up until the final 15 minutes. Well, that's a lie, because he actually shows up very early on into the movie, or at least it felt early on. The movie went by like that because it was so fun, but he shows up a lot, and you get to see him, and I tell you, the first shot, it pans up to his face, he does his roar, and I creamed my pants, and yeah, like, that is a big gripe people are having, though, is you don't get enough Godzilla, and I can understand it for the most part, because I don't think it's wise to say, oh, he's only in the final 15 minutes, because he's not. He's in a few more scenes than that, and when he's in those scenes, he owns them. My problem is, everyone's talking about how, oh, they're just building up to the fight scene. I really felt that they weren't building up Godzilla much at all. And that's a problem with me, because his name is on the poster. I bought his action figure. Like, what we really get here is we get a lot more development from the other creatures he's fighting, which are these things called the Mutos. I have a sinus issue. But they're really cool. Like, they're really big and lumbering. They have the legs that the Cloverfield monster had, but they're in a good movie, unlike he was, and they have this crazy head plate. If Editing Me can find a picture, he'll put it there. If not, he will say sorry. But yeah, I thought they were very cool, but I felt like the movie focused way too much on them. Like, the way this film was built up, you really got them built up, not Godzilla, and that's a problem with me, because I was just like, they're awesome monsters, they really are, but I want to see Godzilla get built up, you know? Build him up more. Like, it really just doesn't show a ton of him until the end, and once again, when you do get him, it's awesome, but I felt like the movie should have been called Mutos instead, because they just focused on them a ton. And you know, it's one of those things where I was just like, that's kind of disappointing, but at the same time, it was so damn enjoyable that I'm really sitting here and I'm just like, I really don't care that much. I really don't, because I'm giddy. Like, I'm giddy at how good this movie was, so those problems didn't bother me a ton. Once again, though, we don't get a ton of him, and we do get a lot of the Mutos, and we get to see them a lot, and they are awesome. Like, that was what I was afraid of, because I'm hearing all these reviews, and I'm like, so what, they just don't show the monsters? They do. They show the monsters in their entirety. This isn't Cloverfield, where you have to wait till the end of a crappy movie to see one awesome shot of the monster. You know, like, they show them. And when they show them, they're big and lumbering and terrifying, and you literally sit there like, like, I was excited. Like, I'm pretty sure the kids in front of me, they weren't from here. I was like, you must be new here, because you're not screaming at the screen like I am, because they're awesome. But, once again, we don't get a ton of them, because, like Godzilla movies of old, just more, in this sense, it's more of a human-centered story. It's more like, we have giant monsters running around. We're like ants to them. We need to deal with this. And the human element in old Godzilla movies was always the thing that just killed me. Like, it was good in the original. They were awesome in the original. But like, if you watch King Kong vs. Godzilla or something like that, I don't care. I don't care what you humans are doing. Just show me the monsters fighting. Show me the guys in rubber suits and the rah, you know? But I think this film it's on a different level because it's in a new era. Like, we don't have the cheesiness of the days of old here. So we did have to get a very good story to be told with these human characters. And personally, I thought that's exactly what we got. It was a very well told story with, for the first time ever, interesting human characters. For the most part. Interesting human characters. So let's talk about them. Now, first things first, I want to talk about Bryan Cranston's character because he was the one that interested me the most, and I feel like I need to state something about it in the end of when I'm talking about him. But basically, he was this scientist where all these tremors were happening, and like he worked at this plant and stuff kept falling down. Then a tragic event happens, and he ends up spending just years of his life, literally years, just like something happened, the government is hiding something, and you know, they are. And he's really a crazy scientist dude. It's something I haven't seen from Bryan Cranston, so I thought it was very interesting to watch. And, you know, his character was very interesting, and he was always, like, sneaking into the infected zone, for those of you who've seen Monsters. And he was just a big conspiracy theorist, and in the end, he was right. My beef is that he is not in it nearly enough. Not nearly enough. He should have been main stage, I think, because he was awesome, and he's really not in it enough, and I'll touch more on that, because I am going to go see it again on Saturday. I already have my tickets for the IMAX. I'm going to come back, I'm going to probably have Danny here, and we're going to do our spoiler review, and I'll get more into it, but know that I loved his character. I was just disappointed with how they handled it. But with him not being present, like, trailers were just like, yeah, Bryan Cranston, so I'm like, oh, he's the main character. He's not. Our main character is actually probably Kick-Ass himself, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, who plays Lieutenant Brody, who is Bryan Cranston's son. And basically, he goes to see Bryan Cranston, all these things happen, monsters rise, and now he has to deal with it. Like, he's just like, oh crap. And he's a soldier. Forgot to tell you that. He's like a bomb squad dude. He stops bombs from happening, which is ironic because Godzilla's like a giant bomb. But yeah, he is doing that, and then these monsters pop out of nowhere, and he's like, eh. And basically the rest of the movie is him with the army and stuff trying to find a way to kill these things while he's trying to get home to his wife and kid. Stakes are high because that's where Gojira is heading with these other two monsters, so we got that. And now, I know a lot of people are saying they didn't like his character because he was just emotionally stale. I disagree. I didn't get that. Like, I could understand if you did, but I felt like I was seeing a different movie than you were, because I was sitting there like, well, he's an army guy. Like, he's trying not to get incredibly emotional, you know? But I don't know, to each his own. Personally, I liked him. I didn't think he had it all. Like, I didn't think he should have been leading the movie. I really think Bryan Cranston should have been, but, you know, he did a good job. I was proud of him. I'm excited. Yeah. And then, of course, we have his incredibly lovely wife, who is played by Elizabeth Olsen, and I'm only bringing her up because I didn't find her character was interesting at all. Like, she's a nurse, and she's just like, oh, my husband, he's in the middle of this, and like, no, that's not an interesting character to me. Why I'm bringing it up is because I want to say I am such a huge fan of this chick. I think she is incredible. I mean, she is immensely talented, and she's gorgeous. Like, that's such a great match when you want to make it in this business, and I want her to keep getting roles. She's the Olsen sister with talent. Keep giving her roles, because I'm telling you, this girl has what it takes. She has what it takes to knock Amy Adams off the top of my celebrity crush list. Yeah, because everyone's trying to get on that list. However, let's be honest here. Our favorite character, and I'm sure this is going to be universal, Ken Watanabe's character, who, agreed, isn't in it as much as I thought he'd be. He is in it for a little majority of it, but his character, especially with Ken Watanabe, because Ken Watanabe has this voice that's just, like, every word that comes out of his mouth is something that you are going to quote. Especially, and it's not a spoiler because it was in the trailer, the monsters are headed towards the city they're going to fight, and he's just like, let them fight, and like, take me. Like, it's just incredible. I want him back for a sequel because I loved his character. He's just Ken Watanabe, dude. He's always awesome. He's never not awesome, let's be honest. So yeah, for the most part, those are our characters, and while they're not incredibly interesting, you know, they're not something you're going to come home about and talk about. Like, when I came home last night, I didn't run up to everyone and go, oh, guess what? Oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson was in it, and Bryan Cranston. Like, no. I came home and started screaming because of that. Like, Godzilla, guys, it's why you came. And while you don't get a ton of him in the first and second act, you get some of him. Don't think he doesn't pop up, because he does pop up. When it leads into the third act, it's some of the coolest, most awesome monster showdowns I have ever seen. Literally so good, I was screaming at the screen. It's just like, like I've screamed at the screen before. I've done this, like, with Marvel movies a lot, but I've never brought my, like, arms into it. Like, I was literally going like, yeah. You know, you cheer Godzilla on like you're at a sports ball game. It's amazing. Not to mention, don't worry that they're just going to be like, we need to root this in reality. Godzilla has his abilities, and when he uses them, you know he's going to use them. Like, you'll see just a blue light, and you'll be like, and the ending is, like, phenomenal. Like, this fight is so great. It's so well done. Like, the visual effects, like, wow. This thing needs to be up for a visual effects Oscar. I'm telling you that. If it's not, then and you give it to another. Just, God, I'm still mad Pacific Rim didn't even get a nomination. It looked real, and so did this one, and it looked so awesome, and God, it made the inner 12-year-old and you just scream out. Like, it was so exciting. And I gotta say this, I love how they treated Godzilla. Like, I loved it, because going into this, we really didn't know a ton of how he was going to be treated. Like, the first few trailers made it look like he wasn't going to fight anything, so he was just going to be the main villain, and the humans are like, Godzilla, like Gojira, we need to stop him. But no, they actually treat him like a hero. Because if you look at old Godzilla movies, like, don't get me wrong, some movies he is your main villain, but a lot of the times, he's not. He's there to stop the other giant monsters. Like, he's like Superman. He's a good guy. He's just trying to do everything for the better good. He just destroyed the city in the process. It's not his fault. He was just trying to help. You know what I mean? And I really loved that, because he's a giant lumbering monster that could just end your life by a little flick. But you felt bad for him. He was you felt sympathy. And I found that was amazing. If you can give that character to a giant lizard. I mean, I said Ken Watanabe. No, Godzilla's the most interesting character in Godzilla because he's the most fleshed out somehow. And he's so awesome. I love the way they treated him. So, in the end, Godzilla is a fantastic monster movie that has some good performances that are honestly a bit forgettable in the end. But it all leads into a third act that will literally make your inner 12-year-old, I've already said this, but he will come out of your heart and just like go, ah! And make you scream at the screen. It's definitely worth your time. Go see it in IMAX. This is one of the few movies I'm going to be like, yeah, go see this in IMAX, because I saw it in IMAX last night. And the 3D is actually pretty damn good. I'm going to say that. It's not, like, I think I still like Pacific Rim's 3D a little bit more, but I do think the 3D was done very well. Not to mention, if you're not listening to the Godzilla roar in those big IMAX theaters with those big IMAX audio things, then you're missing out. I'm really excited though because I went to the one that was located in my AMC, which it's more of just a bigger theater than like the other ones next to it, Theater 13 is. But I'm going down to the one in Denver on Saturday to see it in the big Denver IMAX, which I want it to rattle my cage. Like it's gonna be like, and I'm gonna be like, and yeah, go see this in IMAX. If you can, go see it in a very nice IMAX. And once again, I will see it on Saturday, and I'll be back with a spoiler review so I can tell you how the bigger experience was as well. And yeah, I'm buying Godzilla the day it comes out. I don't care at what price point it is. I'm buying it, and I'm buying the specialist of editions I can find. Because I want to see how they made this. I want to watch all the special features, see every last bit of work that went into this film. Not to mention, I just want to revisit it. Because this Godzilla movie is awesome. It's probably the best Godzilla movie we've gotten since the original. Because it has so much in common with the original. It's not cheesy. It's not a cheesy action flick where he literally floats like a balloon. Like as fun as that is, we're in a new era, and I love how they treated him in this. And here's hoping for a new series of these films. So get hyped. Get hyped. Godzilla gets an A- out of 10. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching my video review for Godzilla. I want to hear what you think. Did you see the movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you going to go see it? Are you going to skip it? Whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comment section below. I want to hear them. And you know what? I have a question for you. Because after I got out of this movie, me and my friends who I went with, which by the way, I went with the biggest Godzilla fan I knew, he was like crying. Like, he loved this movie, so you have that to look forward to as well. But we sat in the parking lot talking about other monsters we'd want to see in the movie. Personally, I want Rodan, so why don't you leave your answer in the comment box? What monster do you want to see Godzilla go up against next if we get a sequel? And, as always guys, if you liked this video, you can hit that subscribe button up there, watch some of my other videos, and if you want to stay updated to them, you can follow me on Twitter, and guess what? I forgot to mention this in the last video, we're on Facebook now. The Captain Vitus Show is on Facebook. Everything I do will be on that page. As always, I'll leave thing in the comment section below. Please go like it because I spent a lot of damn time on it. Like I did. Like the banner, it doesn't look like it took a lot of time, but it did. And yeah, also head over to my music channel, Captain Vitus Music. I play music there with my partner Holo. We play covers, we play originals, what have you. We play it all and we have a fun time in the process. And you can head over to Coop Troop, which is a gaming show that I co-host with my friend Danny, who will probably be on the show on Saturday. And yeah, we play video games and we yell at each other and it's funny. It is. And, as always folks, stay classy.
American Godzilla! Ah!
I should have grabbed Hulk. That would have made a much better ending. This is the ending you get. It's not the one you deserve, but it's the one you get.